Hello everyone, this is Wayne Smith. I'm going to show you how I build an igloo with the ICEBOX tool. There I am assembling it together, checking the size. And as you can see, the form is tilted as I build the first row there. And that's actually very important to be able to get the proper angle on the first row so that all the other rows, the blocks of rows, will line up properly. And the way that you know the angle on that, there's a guideline on the yellow panel that tells you, that has a line that tells you to have it perpendicular to the ground. But I never found that I could eyeball that very good in practical applications. So I added that dark thing that you see there on the yellow panel is a small block of wood with a bubble level on it, which is screwed onto that panel. And that allows me to check the level of that entire first row, which is really important, because once that first row is properly angled, the rest of the blocks will fit on just perfectly with no gaps. Now you notice as I'm building these blocks, one of the most important things is the packing. You can't really see it here because it's speeded up so much, but packing the snow in the blocks is so vitally important to be able to get the snow to hold its shape properly. And then what happens, once you get the block all packed together, where you're packing snow down to snow in a way that compresses it instead of, you're not applying any kind of percussive force to it, you're just compressing the snow down. Then you'll see that I pull up that yellow U-shaped bar, and then there's a toggle, which is a yellow handle there on the inside. And those two things split the form open so that you can slide it off the block and move it to the next position. But I found that often, even with those two things pulled up, there's still some pressure on that block, and often the block would crack and cave in as you're trying to slide the form off the block. So what I've done in the last couple of years, and it's worked very well, is in addition to pulling that U-shaped bar up and popping the toggle open, I also go down and press the button on the pole and rotate the pole slightly so that the two poles can telescope freely inside each other. And with those three things happening, I can slide the form off the block without putting any pressure on the block that I just made and move it to the next position. And that has saved me so much time and so much aggravation from having to rebuild blocks that collapse when you bump it with the form as you're trying to pull it off. This particular igloo went quite smoothly, actually. I had some really nice fluffy snow. It was really cold, it was -25, but the snow conditions were great. They was able to pack the snow and compress it very well, and so that things held. There was only a few blocks out of this entire igloo that cracked on me that I had to redo. And as you see, as I get higher and higher up, it gets a little bit harder to put the snow in. In a minute here I get a stool so I can be up even higher, and it's fun to have to kind of get down off that stool and reach the snow from the bottom of the igloo and climb up and dump it in there. You also notice that in just a second here I will peel off that outside black panel, and so that the form is now just an L-shaped, and I continue working on it that way. I failed to mention here that the pole has several different notches in it that are numbered rows. So when you're doing a particular row, you just have the pole extended to that length, and it's calculated very accurately to give you this perfect cantilever shape. Which is self-supporting. If it was a perfect hemisphere, it wouldn't work very well. So there I am climbing up on a ladder to do the top part, which works really well until you go too high on the ladder, which I just did. And I have never ever done that before. I've used the ladder many times and never had that problem, so I was kind of frustrated, but also happy that I got it on film so I could show it to all of you. And although I was pretty angry about it, it turned out to be a relatively easy fix. I had my daughter inside holding the form against the wall, and I packed the snow up to patch it. But in previous years I've used the ladder lots to get the snow up on the top, and it works out very well as long as you have all of your force going down the side of the igloo and into the ground instead of pressing up against the igloo wall. I hope you enjoyed watching this, and I look forward to hearing any of your comments and questions. I've had so much fun building igloos over the last 15 years.